In an era marked by persistent wars, stalled negotiations, and shifting power dynamics, the world faces a cascade of humanitarian crises. The failure of diplomacy alone to prevent conflict underscores the urgent need for stronger and more credible mechanisms of peace enforcement. At the center of this challenge stands the United Nations, an institution often criticized for its shortcomings, yet still the most legitimate platform for collective security.
But even track record is not has been as good as should have been. Now, there are several reasons why UN has. There are several reasons why the peacekeepers, when it comes to security, when it comes to actually maintaining peace and security, that UN peacekeeping is one of the conflict management tool of the security councils. But there are several reasons why peacekeeping has failed or succeed. Some of the reasons are institutional, structural. Like I said, peacekeeping is only a conflict management tool. They are deployed for a specific period of time to create a space for the political process to move forward. But it will come to certain strategic reasons, these are beyond the control of the peacekeeping missions, they cannot help. But unfortunately what happened, that peacekeepers, since they are in uniform, the ability to peacekeepers in implementing the mandate, when it comes to crucial task of protecting civilians, it becomes the barometer of success. There are instances where peacekeeping mandates were not as strong as should have been, that peacekeepers should be empowered to use all kind of necessary means to protect the civilians. But there are instances, even before the protection has become the part of the mandate, there are cases like peacekeepers taking the extra mile and using all necessary means to protect the civilians. Even after protection mandate has become official under Chapter 7, there are instances, many countries, I do not want to name, many contingents, they have given excuses or advanced reasons, quoting various reasons why the force cannot be used to protect the civilians. This could be that vague mandate, wording of the mandate is not as clear as should have been, or they say the interpretation of the peacekeeping principle is ambiguous, or they say that inadequate troops, or I would say that some people say that the presence of caveats from the home national troop contributing countries. But point is that everything is not lost as yet. Should the peacekeepers, like I said, there's a structurally, even is what the member states want to make out of it, as the peacekeepers are concerned on ground, regardless of whether they mandate or not, within the limited capability, peacekeepers can do a lot than what they are doing. But it needs encouragement from the troop contributing countries and support of the host government and support of the international community.
The UN's peacekeeping missions have long symbolized hope, but their effectiveness has often been weakened by limited mandates, resource constraints, and deep political divisions among member states. For the UN to stay relevant in today's volatile world, it must evolve from a passive arbiter into a more decisive enforcer of peace. This demands not only robust mandates and adequate funding, but more importantly, the political will of major powers to place human security above narrow national interests. There is also a lesson here for peacekeepers themselves.
Peacekeeping is a culture. It has evolved over the years. It is quite different to what the national armies do at their home. So firstly, people must understand, because I had honor to command military observers over 93 countries and had contingents of nearly 30, 40, which included all over Arab, even the Chinese, Russians and the Africans were, even the Russian, Chinese, Pakistanis were huge. So you see, the UN peacekeeping is totally different cup of tea. People must understand that it has evolved over the years and they have to adapt to it going there. Yet there is enough scope for people to do that. But initially you must adopt is bound by certain rules and regulations, certain protocols, etc. So it's part of the training as a peacekeeping culture. I always say, please understand the peacekeeping culture, and you have to adapt and not the other way around. I tell everybody there, when it's adaptive peacekeeping, it's not what peacekeepers will do. What they will do is different. But you can adapt to those circumstances and make different changes.
The stakes could not be higher. Modern conflicts are increasingly complex, entangling state and non-state actors. Hybrid warfare tactics and the deliberate targeting of civilians. In such conditions, peacekeeping cannot remain reactive. It must become proactive, grounded in humanitarian law, rapid deployment capability, and stronger accountability mechanisms. The role of the modern peacekeeper has never been more demanding or more crucial.
In a war zone or in a warring country where conflicts have lasted decades, there is a lot of involvement of foreign players who I wouldn't like to name the countries, but yes, there is a lot of illegal arms trade which is going on. There's a heavy check on illegal arms trade. Then there's an issue of child soldiers also which has been there, and human trafficking has been there. So UN agencies are very proactive, very alert, and with the latest modern technology, especially now with satellite imagery and with drones which are there for intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance only. Based on that, the Joint Operations Command Center disseminates information to all the UN locations as to the rebel forces movement, and helps the UN contingent get ready beforehand. So basically, the real-time intelligence is been shared on a live feed basis to every COB and temporary operating bases, so as to protect the civilians and to get them or evacuate them out of harm's way before the war strikes or any warring tribes come to battle with each other. Before that, there are preemptive measures being taken. So this is one technology that is really helping us out.
New technologies too are reshaping the landscape of peacekeeping, enhancing surveillance, logistics and communication, but also raising new ethical and operational challenges.
Peacekeeping in a very active hostile environment has its own challenges. At times you have to improvise, the junior leaders have to improvise on ground when it comes to tackling with the rebels. And I certainly feel that end of the day, the secret ingredient for any troop contributing country is the art of negotiation. So you have to negotiate and be in good terms with all the parties. That is basically the NGOs which are helping in the mission. Then you got to be in very good terms with the rebels or the opposition, as well as the ruling party or the government. That is there. So you have to keep everyone on a common platform. You have to have cordial relations with each other. And again, as I keep saying, that United Nations is for peacekeeping, and that will only happen once you are building and developing constant and good relations with all the parties in a certain nation which is undergoing a hostile environment.
This year's USI Annual United Nations Forum 2025 brings together practitioners, academics and policymakers to confront these evolving realities. Their deliberations underscore a central truth. While the complete protection of humanity may still be an aspiration, strengthening the UN's credibility and capability in peace enforcement is not optional. It is essential. But by doing so, can the organization remain both a symbol of hope and a practical instrument for global peace?